Look deep into my eyes. Welcome everybody, Rob Pavanchi here. And I'm doing this episode in my studio, and I'm using my brand new ring light. Can you see it? It's a really cool light. I picked it up in Nashville while I was there doing the Inferno. Now, the reason I'm doing this episode in my studio is because it's been crazy busy, absolutely nuts. I've been trying to do the latest episode with James. James has been calling me and just been having a really hard time scheduling things. So I apologize to James for going ahead and doing this episode without him, but we'll get it done next month or next week, maybe in 2 weeks. But I had to get something done, and I've been trying to get to do something for sort of a post-inferno, sort of a TB, tuberculosis, no, television episode post-inferno, which was 3 weeks ago because it is now November 20th and November 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in Nashville. We had 3 of the most amazing days called the Inferno in Nashville. So I'll talk about that in a minute. But let me just state, first of all, sort of, my impression of what's going on in the industry. A couple things I've observed, talking to others, as well as reading some of the newsletters out there. For example, I was in Nashville. I believe it was Thursday morning. I get an email. I subscribe to a lot of newsletters, and I got, Henry Olds from Virtual Backgrounds. He's from Texas, that virtual background rear projection or front projection system. It's a most amazing system. Anyways, I subscribe. He puts out an awesome monthly newsletter, and he was talking about some area of Texas where they have this sort of a state or part of Texas state convention, and how bad the turnout was. It was abysmal. It was really, really bad. I was also talking to Nick from Dury's, who coincidentally is based out of Nashville, and they're one of our major sponsors for this event. And Nick was going up to Ohio for the state convention, and same thing, low numbers. Anyways, it seems to be a trend all over North America as far as conventions and workshops, all in the photographic industry. So, got me thinking, asking the big question, what is going on? So anyways, I don't have any answers. I can only talk about it, and I can only guess, and I can only make some hypotheses, if that's such a word. Did I say it right? I can make some hypothetical guesses as to what it is that's going on. And what I think is going on is twofold. First of all, there's an abundance, a saturation of workshops, live workshops, videos online, and also second to that, there is, there's 3 things. I'll talk about the third thing in a minute. The second thing is that people are just feeling crappy about the economy. So the economy, they might be, maybe it's the shits, maybe it's not. Okay, the third thing is that people are not experiencing the success they wanted to experience in their photography businesses. You know what I mean? Okay? It's 2012 right now. I got into digital in around 2000, 2001. Then slowly this tsunami wave started to build up. Really picked up a lot of steam, and it was really rolling forward. It was like huge around 2005, 6, 7, and 8. At around 2008, seemed to lose a fair amount of momentum and power. So, and now it seems to be like all out crashing. I'll be really curious as to how the numbers will be at WPPI, because WPPI in Las Vegas, I know it was Las something, has always been the big granddaddy of all the big conventions. And I gotta tell you guys something, if you've not been around, back in the 80s, WPPI was a bit of a joke. It was a bit of a joke, don't tell anybody. Nobody really went to it. It was kind of like this small-time player. But when digital came on board and all of a sudden everybody was interested, everybody started to just go to WPPI, and it became this big non-joke. It was this awesome event. And I love going there because there's so many people, and there's the trade show is bar none the best in the industry. I love going to the trade show. I probably love the trade show more than anything. I would go to WPPI, and I plan on going next March 2013. just to go to the trade show. Anyways, and I'm curious to see how many numbers will be there. So certainly at the state and provincial level, areas and in and around smaller groups, the attendance seems to be really, really, really flatlined. Now, I can say that as well about the Inferno. We've had the worst numbers ever. It was like so sad. And it totally is in line with what we've been experiencing and the stories I've been hearing from guys like Nick from Dury's, the guys from Will Henry from Virtual Backgrounds, and everyone else who's been saying the same thing about all the conventions and workshops all over North America. So we're pretty much in ratio and in line with that. So it was pretty bad. I was a little depressed. I was really sad because of the amount of, we lost a lot of money. Let's put it that way. But that aside, I'm over it. And there are some real pluses to the whole event. And I'm going to talk about that right now, okay? So I'm not going to talk about how crappy the industry is. I want to talk about a couple things. I'm going to talk about it on a personal level, and then I'm going to talk about the industry as a whole insofar as what's been going on in places like our little Inferno, our little workshop. So my business, my photography studio is doing pretty good. I mean, it's exactly where I want it to be. The phone's ringing, we're booking sessions. My wife's freaking out. She thinks, but accountants are like that. Don't tell her I said that, but it's their job to say, we're going to hell in a handbasket. But every month I say, okay, let's look at the books. What are our numbers? We have a meeting every Wednesday. Today's Wednesday, and we had a meeting. We have a meeting. We're only two, her and I. That's it. We sit down. We structure time in the day timer. We sit down, and I have an agenda of things we'll talk about. One of the things I want to talk about is say, well, let's look at the numbers, because the numbers don't lie. And it helps to put my mind at ease, and it helps to put her mind at ease. So we look at what's the studio doing? And I also look at what do we have in our long-term savings, and because you've got to have a big picture. You've got to have a big goal in order to have that big picture thing that you want to push towards. Okay, it's very, very important. Plus we talk about, what are we going to do with this, weddings, what are we going to do with, we change things, we talk about new backdrops, changes to the price list, changes to, X, Y, Z, for example, okay, today I did an executive shoot. Nice lady, know her well. She came in, she's running for politics. She came in all looking good. And my wife was working at the back. She came and she helped me a bit. Helped choose the makeup and jewelry. And then I asked her if she wanted to wait and I would download the pictures and have the proofs ready right away, which she did. She said, fine. So 15 minutes, she had sat in the front. My wife went to the back and she was working. So anyways, later on we had this meeting. I told my wife, I said, that's an opportune time. I said, I really feel it's important that when our client sits there, you should come out and talk to her as a routine, structured thing. That's what we do every time a client's there. If we're putting their proofs through right away, which we do quite a bit actually, when we can, when it's convenient, my wife will sit there and talk to her, and bond, and connect, and talk about all things, and perhaps maybe about the photography that they need. So that was one element, one thing that came up on today's meeting. We talked about a bunch of other stuff. I'm not going to get into any of that right now, but I think what's important is, the point I'm trying to make is that we're pretty busy, and it's not something that I take for granted. It's not something that I feel that anybody should just sit back and be passive about, because I really think that marketing is the key, and that's something I'm pretty active in. So, anyways, that's my studio in a nutshell. Quick snapshot. The other component that I wanted to talk about, like I mentioned, in reference to the Inferno, 3 days of some of the best speakers in the industry, honest to God. People were telling me halfway through day one, it was worth their price of admission. It was already worth being there, already spending all that time and money, some of them flying in from, far away, thousands of miles away. And they were telling me this. It was amazing. And I agree. Okay, so on the first day, we had James Hodgins, James, the other guy, the co-founder of NoBs Photo Success. He talked about something he's never really talked about before, and that is the direction he's been going with his photography, and that is industrial and mining photography. He had a 3-hour intensive talk on that, absolutely enlightening. So if you're not into that specific style of photography, there's a lot there for anybody to pick up on and pick up on a lot of the success strategies and photography strategies that he shared with everybody. So it was very enlightening in that sense. And I know those who are interested in that were really blown away by it, as well as those who weren't. You know, it was pretty good. Now, I want to tell you one thing. Everybody that was there got to see it live. But those who are not there and are members of NoBs Photo Success will have the videos, because I videotape all of these. And they're going to go in the forum. So I'm going to, every month, put out a new speaker. And the first month is going to be James, and that's coming out within a week or so. So if you're a member of NoBs Photo Success, it's like $20 a month. Come on, really. You want to get in touch and plug in and tune into some really good information, including these infernos. Just all you got to do is be a member. Just be a member. So anyways, day one, James talked 3 hours. Second half of day one, we had Brian DeMint. Now, Brian DeMint, man, the guy's amazing. Funny as hell, as usual. We had him last April in Toronto, and we had him back to go, you know, obviously to speak in Nashville, because it's a different crowd. And he was absolutely mind-blowing. People were just blown away by what he was able to bring through his art and his photography. Absolutely enlightening. So we got him for about 3.5, 4 hours, and again, videotaped in the forum. All right, so Friday night, we had a night owl session with our resident Photoshop guru, Bill Guy. He gave a 2.5-hour presentation on Photoshop. You know, very, very good stuff. And again, videotaped in the forum. All right, so day two, we had yours truly, moi. Yeah, it was me. I spoke for 3 hours. Now I have this series that I talk about called Bright Ideas. And with this time I had a bit of a heavier angle with all things marketing. And I talk a lot about ideas, strategies, observations in the industry, success strategies, and a lot of actual stuff from my studio. So I'll talk about publicity, I'll talk about marketing, I'll talk about mail order, I'll talk about sales, I'll talk about all that stuff, but all mostly in reference to what I am doing, moi, in my studio. So I kind of like that. I kind of dig that because it kind of legitimizes it a bit. Try and say that 10 times fast. It legitimizes it in a sense, because I'm not talking through academic, I'm talking through actual experience. I think that's pretty cool because I'm sharing, and you know, people seem to dig it, so it's pretty cool. And again, I videotaped it. It's in the forum. So that's day two, first half of the day. Second half of the day two, we had Dan. Yeah, Dan the man. Dan Freivolt. Dan is a very creative senior photographer who's doing some real kick butt stuff. He does a lot of blending work as well as a lot of regular photography, which is absolutely outstanding. And he shared a lot of information with us. He also got really heavy into Facebook marketing and marketing with his senior plan. So it was absolutely amazing. So I urge you to watch that. If you want to really, I like plugging into guys like that because they're kind of like younger. They have a new, fresh look, and he's got a graphic design background, so he's got that kind of artistic element to it. You know, he's got a really cool goatee. It goes from here, and it's about this long. He's got the world's longest goatee. I told him, I said, I saw your goatee come in the room before you did. Funny, bada boom. Anyway, so we had Dan, absolutely amazing. Again, love guys like that. Guy's awesome. Shares a lot of his knowledge, experience, openly with everybody. So, he was recorded. Did I mention? Oh yeah, in the forum. All right, so we're talking Saturday, day two. That was me, Dan, and the night owl session. We had Randy Sarton. Now, Randy is from Knoxville. Known Randy for a long time. He's been in the forum, NoBs Photo Success, a long time. He's one of those guys. He posts all the time. Absolutely one of the most down-to-earth, generous guys. Funny. And he shoots sports photography. And he told everybody, he says, you don't make a lot of money at this. And he asked everybody in the room, a lot of the guys who were there who kind of like were, I guess, from the area. But he said, how many guys here would like to shoot one of these football games? And every hand went up. So there's a lot of that, I guess, desire. There's a lot of that. it's just a really cool job what he's doing. He's photographing a lot of these big time football, basketball, and other. So he's a sports photographer. So he kind of shared that world with us. So, but again, there's that price to pay. He's doing something really cool, but he's not making a lot of money at it. He's getting money, but he's just not getting rich at it. So I mean, I think it's a balance between doing something you really, really love and paying the price for it. I mean, what do you do? I mean, these and other probing questions came to my mind, and I'm not sure if I talked to him about it. I talked to his wife at great length because she was there too, and we just chatted for a long time. I love people from down in Tennessee. They're just so down to earth and friendly, and they got that accent, you know. It's really cool. Every time I leave Nashville, I've got it in my head, that accent, and you know, I don't know, I feel a real kinship towards them. So anyways, day 3, we had Barbara Yantz. Now Barbara's from Kentucky. She drove in, a couple hours drive. She spoke in the first half of Sunday. Barbara runs a photography studio. She's pro, totally legit, has a lot of marketing, a lot of photography ideas and tips, and a lot of stuff she shares from the trenches from her studio. So she was totally awesome. And the last speaker, who really surprised me, surprised James and everybody else. Well, I don't know why. I guess we just, you know, it's a guy from Silver Lake. You know, he's married to that beautiful lady, Paula. Travis Gadsby. Paula and Travis own Silver Lake Photo Accessories. Anyways, he spoke on Sunday afternoon. Now, I've known Travis and Paula for many, many years. Paula wasn't there, by the way. I would have much rather see her there than Travis, but we were stuck with Travis. But Travis has got a lot of experience as a photographer, as a senior photographer, before him and Paula started Silver Lake Backdrops, or Silver Lake Photo Accessories, excuse me. And, but he's still got a lot of insight and experience on shooting. I had no idea. You know, you think you know a guy because he's like in the trades, and then you realize, wow, he's pretty skilled, and he shared a lot of that with us. Absolutely mind-blowing. And the reason I asked him to speak was because somebody had seen him on the Sandy Putsch tour. He helped out Sandy. He did 43 cities. Do you know how insane that is? 43 cities in a row, living on a tour bus, going to bed at 2 in the morning, getting up at 5, taking all the gear, loading it up 3 flights of stairs to their next venue. No wonder he looked like he lost about 20 pounds. And he looked buff too. Well, that's why, 43 cities. So somebody had seen him at one of those on that tour and said, you know, he's pretty awesome. So, and I know Travis pretty good, so I sent him an email. I said, what do you think? Speak? Inferno? And he said, yes, he's a very, very generous guy, and he came and poured his heart out, and we did some amazing stuff. He had some amazing stuff. And he said, I have a whole section that he wanted to talk on customer service, and we did not have enough time. So we just lined up yesterday. Yesterday I lined up a webinar on that topic for January of 2013. So if you go to NoBs Photo Success, to the forum, you'll see it on the side box there, the dates there. And if you're a member, you get to join us. All right? Cool. So that was the last day of the Inferno. Now, one thing, there's 2 things I want to talk to you about why I do these Infernos. I guess one is why, one is how. The how is, I pick photographers, I pick them myself. Some people send me emails, they send me suggestions, and I'll go, oh, no, I'm not, no. Yes, maybe, I'll do some research. I'll do some snooping around. And I'll dig out photographers that, in the whole grand scheme of things, for 3 days, it's a well-rounded, balanced sort of approach. Now this Inferno was all guys except for Barbara Yantz, who spoke. So I kind of like to blend a few more ladies. So the next Inferno in April of 2013, I've already got the speaker roster all set up. I'm not going to announce it yet, but I've got a little more of a balance going on. Got some cool speakers coming in, so you're going to be totally blown away. So my goal with these is not just to pick any speaker, not just to pick a speaker who's got a celebrity status, not just to pick a speaker who's been there 10 years ago, not doing much now. I want legitimate, absolutely qualified, bona fide speakers. And when you look at the whole 3 days, it's a balance. I want a balance of quality, products or content. That's what I'm after, okay? And I've done enough of these now, I've gotten quite good at it. I kind of struggled a little more at first, where I was actually, you know, learning to balance it out. But I've never really done a lot of 3-day events before, and you do enough of them. It's like project manager. I'm a project manager now, you know. And while you're doing this sort of stuff, you know, stuff happens. Things fall apart. Plans go to hell. Everything sometimes will just break apart, and you got to sort of go to Plan B. And I used to get upset. I used to go, "Oh my God," and pull my hair out. Now I decided, don't bother. Just that's the reality. It's always going to be that way. So you just keep at it. So it's kind of a little side thing that I've learned. So that's the how. And why do I do it? Before I close off, I'll just tell you why I do it. I think it's important, and I think it's important to each and every one of you to sort of understand that when you go to workshops like this, even though it's in person and you could easily watch it online, you connect with people at a much deeper level when you are in person. And even though I do watch a lot of videos, I do listen to a lot of audios, I'm constantly feeding myself information and on marketing, on success, on photography, constantly. And I think that that is a major contributing factor to the success of my studio. And to me as a human being, I'm always trying to get better, get stronger, and we're either going downhill or we're rising up. You know, you're not really in the middle. So being educated in personal development is a big part of my agenda. So that's one of the areas as to why I do it. I just really believe in that. Also, back when I started out, I think I was 27 years old when I had been in my own photography studio for 3 or 4 years. When I went to my first seminar, it blew me away. I was like, oh my God, they have this sort of thing? And I just became addicted, and it just felt right. This is the one area for me where I really feel connected with people when I go to a workshop and I'm hanging out with photographers. So that's a big deal for me. That's a big why I do these things. If I didn't do these things, I would just attend more events and, you know, seek out photographers and hang out. And, you know, I was talking to somebody last week who we have a mutual friend. And this friend is a photographer. Well, actually, he has a full-time job, but him and his wife also have a studio, and his wife does most of the shooting, but he shoots as well. Really nice people. And he was telling my friend, the mutual friend, that he thought that I was some snobby photographer because I was this big studio in town. And I really didn't get to know this guy until the last 7 or 8 months. And he was telling our mutual friend how much he was impressed at how open I was and friendly. I'm just like that. So anybody who's into photography, to me, is like family. I feel connected. I feel like sharing. I'm very open. It's the way it always is. So this idea of, you know, the stereotypical photographer who holds back, I think is doing themselves in the industry a big disservice. So it's much better, and I've always felt that way. This is a big why for me. Be open and share. Because the real secret to success really is a lot different than just knowing stuff. It's really getting off your butt, and implementation is a big part of it. So, and you get a lot of that stuff, at least I do anyways, when I hang out with photographers and we just chit chat, and I just feel so good. I felt really tired when I came back from Nashville, but I felt really connected, really inspired. I felt more, I guess it sounds kind of weird, but I felt more spiritually alive. A lot of wonderful things. So, yeah, that's it, man. That's all I got to say about that. So, excuse the ring light here. You know, it's kind of a new toy, and I just thought I'd try it out. There, you see it. Thanks to Dury's Cameras. Dury's in Nashville. Awesome camera store, by the way. You check them out online. And they got just about everything, and they've got some really sweet products. This ring light's like $200. It's pretty good. And I'm going to use it for a lot of my photography. So, all right, guys. I'm signing off. I'll see you guys next time. Next time we'll have James here. I'm shutting the camera off now. There we go.